Hey, what's up? Chris here, and thanks very much for checking out chrisducker.com and this quick video as well. Actually, it's not going to be quick. It's probably going to be about 10 or 12 minutes in length. But today I'm going to show you the new chrisducker.com website. My old site was sitting on a WordPress server and kind of website theme for about 5 years or so. A couple of different designs, but definitely WordPress based. And about a month or so ago, I made the switch over to the new Rainmaker platform, which I'm supporting right now with this t-shirt, and that's put together by the guys over at Copyblogger Media. Brian Clark and his amazing team over there approached me last year in regards to moving over to Rainmaker, and once I looked into it, I really discovered that this is the future. Like, this is the way that online business owners and publishers are going to be going. Everything under one roof, no need for plugins, everything's updated, super fast servers, great support, a number of different themes to pick and choose from. My theme ended up being extremely custom built, but that doesn't mean that yours needs to be like that and you can't do something out of the box. But bottom line, it was a seamless, painless process. And I will probably do another video at some point in the very near future telling you a little bit about all the different features on Rainmaker and exactly why I did switch over to that platform from WordPress. But today, I want to focus on the redesign of chrisducker.com, because I had several of you reach out after the new site went live telling me how much you loved it and how clean and modern and responsive it was and all the rest of it. But a lot of you asked about why I made certain changes design-wise on the site, the actual mindset and the thought process behind doing that. So from one online entrepreneur to hopefully a few thousand others out there, I'm going to be walking you through exactly some of the main areas of the website and the changes that we made, and more importantly, why we made those changes. Everything from a aesthetics point of view right the way down to conversions, opt-ins, readability, visitor satisfaction, you name it, it's all covered. So we're going to switch over right now to the screencast, enjoy the tour, and again, thanks very much for tuning in. So here we are at the homepage of chrisducker.com, and those of you who potentially have been following me for a while will notice that there's no real difference in terms of sort of the layout of this part above the fold, as we call it. So basically anything that sort of is on the screen when you load it up is classified as above the fold. This is a 27-inch iMac, so you're going to get a little bit more above the fold here as you might do, say, obviously on a laptop or a smaller screen, but ultimately it comes down to this area here. And yeah, like I said, on the old site, there was basically the same info. Here, what we've done, however, we've totally changed the image out. We've sort of added this little title tab in here and made the color of the button a completely different color. Before it was an orange, and now it's this sort of green button, which really stands out as a call to action. But everything else here in terms of the actual content is pretty much identical. The logo for the new site was updated a little bit. It is basically the same, except for the fact that we went for a more richer, darker orange color, and then we also updated the font to give it a little bit more of a modern feel as well. But again, everything else is absolutely identical. What we have done here is, and I'll zip between a few different pages and whatnot so you can see what's going on, but if I scroll down, what we did here and what we didn't do on the old site was provide a genuine area for the book to be showcased. So this is obviously something that's very important to my brand, and it was something I worked really hard on. 30,000 plus copies have been sold, and so it's worth having a highlight. So I put that right at the top of the site so that people could see it as soon as they started scrolling, which is really cool. I'll open up this tab in a minute and show you what's on the actual page that we built for the book as well. And then we wanted a really nice section where people could get stuck into the latest handful of podcast episodes as well. The podcast averages about 250,000 downloads a month currently, sometimes a little less than that. So I'd say probably between 200,000 to 250,000 downloads a month. So it needs to be showcased also. And not only do we have links obviously to the last 5 episodes, but also a link to the podcast archive page, which I'll show you in a second, as well as a direct link to be able to subscribe in iTunes or via RSS as well. So I think we did a really good job in putting together this part of the site. It's so colorful, it really stands out, and he's a handsome bugger on the left as well. Going down a little bit, we obviously needed to showcase the blog. Now, a lot of blogs have sort of a ton of their older posts, or recent posts rather, on the homepage. I did not want to do that. I didn't do that with the old site, and so I didn't, decide to change that mindset going into the redesign this time around. So again, a link obviously to the archive, so people can get all the old stuff, and I'll show you that in a sec. But then also we just decided to highlight the bottom, or rather the most recent 3 blog posts as well. A little bit further down towards the end here, you'll see a section focused entirely on speaking. My speaking career has really blossomed over the last couple of years, and I'm now getting invites to regularly keynote larger events and things like that. And so I wanted to be able to showcase that a little bit more and bring that more kind of front and center as part of the Chris Ducker brand as well. And with a link directly to a video that does start to autoplay, as you can see right here. But however, there is a link that takes people to the actual page itself, where they can find out more about the sort of types of topics and presentations that I give, and a whole load of other stuff, and I'll show you that in a sec as well. So we finished off the homepage with another call to action, which is for exactly the same opt-in as the one at the top, some social links down here at the bottom, and obviously a few other bits and pieces as well. These we added in, believe it or not. For as long as I've been online, I've never had terms of use, privacy policies and disclaimers on my site before in a real organized fashion. So I got involved with an attorney in the United States. We put all those together, and now it's all legit and up there, and if you want to go visit them, you can just go ahead and click them at the bottom here. They're nothing too exciting, so I won't bother showing you now. So that was basically the redesign of the homepage itself. So if we click on the book page right here, I'll show this to you real quick. And what we decided here was just to give the book its own home on the site. We didn't do this before. We linked directly to Amazon whenever we mentioned the book before, but now we've decided to give it its own home. So we brought in the animated book trailer that we created for the launch of the book last year, and then obviously started to highlight it, and a little bit of a call to action here, which takes them direct to Amazon, some testimonials, our good friend Jay Bear here, and then there was that Becoming a Virtual CEO video that did really, really well in helping to tell the story of the book and get it out there. So we decided to add that in as well. A little bit more info, a link to the Virtual Freedom podcast, which takes them directly to the book website, but the podcast page on the book website. I love this little graphic right here that the designer put together. It's so sexy. And then another call to action and a couple of other testimonial or book blurbs at the bottom there as well. So I really love this page. It gives the book the showcase that it really deserves. And then if we go along the top here, I'll start at the right and then come back to the about page here. But we wanted to highlight, I recently surveyed my audience, and we discovered that almost half of the audience had discovered me in the last year. So, there's an obvious churn of any online audience. People grow out of your content. You serve the purpose that they need in their life, and then they move on to other things. And so to learn that 50% of my audience currently have only just found out about me pretty much over the last 12 months was really good. But it also proved to me that I needed to have a direct page for people to get to if they hadn't heard of me before and they sort of came to the site from somewhere else online, like via a link on social media or something like that. It was going to be important to have something available for them to be able to click and discover a little bit about me and what the site has to offer straight away. So we created this Start Here page, a nice big image at the top here, And, really just a bit of a call to action right at the top here as well, where I say, this is how you're going to get the most out of this site. So again, a lot of the stuff that I've created before in the past has been on virtual staff and outsourcing. We wanted to highlight, obviously, the book again and give some links to some of our older content as well. So we put that in. Plus my 3 list of freedom exercise, which is, become a little, I'm not going to say famous, infamous, where a lot of people have done this. Thousands and thousands of people have done this exercise to be able to kind of create a blueprint for them to start offloading tasks and becoming more productive. So we must obviously feature that because it's such an important part of the brand. And then I mentioned the Virtual Staff Finder, one of my businesses. And then, I go into my other big passion and what I talk about a lot online, which is personal branding. And so, we provided, again, some links to older content and then a video for my branding bootcamp course. And then moving down a little bit more kind of regular or general content in regards to marketing and growth, link to the podcast, some more older content, and then we finished off with a big call to action at the end for people to hopefully opt in and get started with the 7-day new business bootcamp. So that's basically the start page right there. And we'll zip across to the about page right now. And I hope you're getting some thoughts here in terms of the way that you can build your site or maybe redesign your site in some of the ways that when I'm explaining this, some of the ways that I've decided to put certain things in certain places. This was all really, really well thought out. This was not a rushed redesign in any way whatsoever. So again, on the About page, assuming that you've never heard of me before, what is this site going to give you? A little bit more info here, another pretty solid headline right at the top, sort of, to catch your eye. The first opt-in, a little bit of my story. And I should state actually right here at the top, these first few paragraphs are all about you, the visitor. It's about what this site can give you. And then I get into my story. So remember, everything you do on your blog or your website, make sure that the focus is on your visitor and your audience, not you. This is not an ego parade. This is about helping people. So we provided a little bit more of a backstory there, my aha or my new business moment as a brick and mortar business owner deciding to fall in love and focus on the internet. A couple of other links as well, obviously back to the book and to the podcast. And then we finish up with another call to action into the bootcamp and a link to check out the blog itself if they want to go ahead and do that, which we will. So this is the blog archive page. Again, I wanted to keep text to a real minimum here and use the headlines and the titles of my blog posts to get people to actually click on them. I've been very guilty in the past of not, honestly thinking through my blog titles in the past, and I'm starting to do it way more now. But as you can see, we feature the latest blog post. So this is the last one that was published, and then underneath there's just a link to the titles, one after another. The last sort of 20 odd posts or something, with links then going back all the way into the archives as well. And then, again on the sidebar, this is the first time you see the sidebar on the blog archive page. Another opt-in here with a green button to catch people's eyes out. We put a search function in because there's over 500 articles on this blog. So this is the easiest way for people to find what they're looking for. Link to the Facebook page, obviously, and then some more all-time hits. And these, by the way, can be selected by me as the publisher. So these are all basically put in one particular category in the blog background, right? So I can actually choose what goes in here. So if there's a certain post that I want to highlight for a month or two, maybe it's an event that I've got coming up, and there's an older post of a review or a kind of a recap post of that event, then I'll slam that in there and we can take it out after. So I really love this function of being able to pick and choose these all-time hits as well. And as you can see, these 3 images here are links to individual pages and resources and whatnot. But as you see, as I continue to scroll, they stick. They're static images, and I love that. So this is something that I can chop and change without any problems at all. And that was just a little bit of simple coding. It wasn't too hard to put together. So if we go onto the podcast page, again, an archive, we've got a nice big call to action here for them to subscribe, and then we go straight into the archive of all of the last episodes, or rather episodes of the podcast, and links right the way back to the beginning as well. So nothing too extravagant there, but we've started to highlight the guests a little bit more with images here. We never had these before, so we wanted to use that sort of visual recognition for a lot of these superstars like Noah Kagan, and Laura's there, Ramit Sethi, Shailene, Kevin Harrington, Michael Hyatt. These are all big names, and people recognize their faces when they're sort of clicking and surfing around. On the speaking page, the focus was really obviously on providing a little bit of a backdrop, so to speak, on the type of speaker that I am, and we go into a little bit of my current keynoting topics, as well as additional topics that I talk about from time to time as well. There's some decent HD images of me on there, some testimonials of old events that I've spoken at that people have given me, and then obviously we have the 2015 engagements here of all of the speaking sessions I'm doing this year. So you can see considerably less speaking engagements compared to 2014, where I was on the road quite a bit. Taking it a bit easier this year. And onto the resources page. This is just a very simple, list page of the types of resources that I recommend for people for building their businesses online. Everything from, hosting right the way down to, email and list building and productivity, podcasting, you name it. It's all there. This page, if I'm to be very honest with myself, probably does need a little bit of an update. So I'll get around to doing that at some point in the next 25 years. But it does need a bit of an update. And then lastly, the last page I'm going to show you is the contact page. And this is just, very simple. I like to keep my emails to an absolute minimum, as I do average a couple of hundred a day. So I push people towards conversing with me, or not push, wrong word, guide people towards conversing with me on social instead. So Twitter is my preferred social media platform of choice. After that, Facebook. And then there's a separate page here that we set up just for interview requests. I get quite a few, and for these to sort of come via Facebook and Twitter was causing a bit of a pain, and it was really slowing things down a little bit. I will click on that just so you can see exactly how we manage it now. So we have everybody that wants to interview me for a podcast or even traditional media fill out this form so that we can find out a little bit more about the show or the magazine or the TV or radio station or whatever before we actually reply to them. And that's been working really, really well. We average about 5 or 10 requests a week. So it's worked really, really well. So that was the redesign of chrisducker.com. I hope you enjoyed the tour. Please spend some time on the site clicking around, and if you have any questions about it or have any comments, I'd love to hear from you. If you're watching this on YouTube, obviously you can just comment right here on the page. But if you are looking at it embedded on the blog, please just send me a tweet. As you know, I don't do comments anymore to keep focus on the publishing and the marketing of the content. But I do love to hear from you all on social media. So please feel free to tweet me at Chris Ducker or reach out to me in any other way. I look forward to hearing from you. And again, I hope you enjoyed the tour. It was great fun putting this new redesign together. It was very much overdue, and I'm extremely ecstatic with the way that it's turned out. Bye for now.